Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following confession that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and that translation, it reads like this. I did money rituals in Nigeria, and then I messed up the rules that I was supposed to follow. Unfortunately, I never thought that I was going to break those rules. When they were given to me, they were so easy. All that I had to do was to sleep with women, and I was never supposed to sleep with someone that I am related to by blood. It's so easy, right? You won't sleep with your cousin sister that you are related to by blood. You won't sleep with your real sister. There is no way that you're going to sleep with your mother, with your auntie from your father's side. It is impossible. You can't be sleeping with your grandmother. That is what I thought when I was in Nigeria. And I said, this is the best rule that anyone can be given when they are doing money rituals. But I did not know that the devil was going to mess up everything for me so that he can kill me. As I'm speaking with you right now, I am a man and I am pregnant. This pregnancy that I am carrying, it was supposed to be a pregnancy that was going to be carried by the woman that I had recently slept with. And this was what always happened. When I make a woman to be pregnant, then she will die. And now I am the one that is carrying this pregnancy, even though I do not have a womb as a man. My life, let me take you back. I used to be someone that was extremely poor. When they spoke about poverty, they spoke about me. I was like an example that you would give to your child, that you see that boy is very poor. My child, you need to focus on your education so that you won't be as poor as name hidden. So, Brother Nanshi, I was staying close to the CBD. I was staying in a one-room shack. I was staying with 3 of my friends. These friends of mine, I would name them Thomas, Nigel, and Theo. All of us, we stayed in that shack. We could not afford, each one of us could not afford to have their own room. We had to work together so that we can be able to stay and to have a roof over our heads. Each and every month end, you would get close to becoming homeless because you won't have the money, but we survived. So every morning we would wake up and we would go and sell in the CBD, walking around the taxi ranks, selling to people that will be on the taxis or walking in the CBD. As for Theo, he used to sell water, frozen water. Then me and Nigel, we would sell peanuts. And then Thomas, he was a little bit better because the capital that he had allowed him to buy fruits and sell those fruits. It seems as if it is nothing to someone that has money, but when you are broke, to raise money for you to go and stock fruits and sell them, it is very difficult, because if you do not sell those fruits, they are going to get rotten. But things like your peanuts, you can sell them forever, including frozen water. They do not require a lot of capital. We were working together and we were very close. By then, I was aged 23 and my other 3 friends, they were also the same age. When I was just 24, that was when this other girl, she used to sell frozen water. This girl, her name was called Precious. We would meet at the taxi rank and I fell madly in love with her, and she also fell madly in love with me. And then we started to sleep together, and then she fell pregnant for me. When she fell pregnant for me, I started to see that I had made a mistake. I was still staying with my boys and I could not afford to get a proper room to stay with Precious. So knowing that this was going to be a heavy burden on my soul, I then decided to do something that most of you will say it was really evil. I then ran away from that location where I was staying, and then I started to stay somewhere else. I even changed the business that I was doing and changed the place where I was selling, because I did not want Precious to bother me anymore. So I moved, and then I went to the other side of the city, and I started to stay in an informal settlement. The room that I was using, it was just a plastic shack, and I would go and sell my stuff. One day, I then met with this other Nigerian man. He was a businessman. So the area where I was now doing my business of selling fruits and other stuff, there were a lot of Nigerians that were staying there. It was downtown. So this Nigerian, I used to see him quite a lot. Then he called me to his shop. He then asked me if I knew how to operate a till, if I knew how to read and write. I then said, yes, of course, I know how to read and write. And he said to me, okay, I want you to work in my shop. I instantly agreed because I just wanted a job that could give me a little bit of salary. I then started to work in his shop. The shop where he was selling, he had phones, radios, TVs, as well as solar panels. So I worked for this Nigerian close to 11 years. So this Nigerian man, he was someone that was very friendly, and he became really friendly towards me, and he would say that I want to go with you to Nigeria so that you can see my country. I eventually agreed, and I went with him to Nigeria. He bought a flight ticket for me and for him, and then we flew to Nigeria. When we arrived in Niger, then that was when he took me to his village, and we drove for many kilometers outside of his village into a bushy area. It was a dark forest that was really scary. When we were in the middle of the forest, that was when he said to me, we were still in the car, he was like, I want you to see where my money comes from. I want you to know where my cars come from, where I manufacture money, so that you can also be able to have money. And then that was when we started walking. When we got out of the vehicle, we walked into a bushy area, and finally we arrived at a shrine. This shrine, it was really scary because I saw that there was a snake that was coming, and it was headed towards us, and the Nigerian man told me not to be afraid of that python because it had came to verify if it was him and if I was not a danger to the shrine. When we arrived at the shrine, I saw that it was a normal village compound, but there were snakes that were moving on the compound as if it was nothing. And then I saw another man. This man that I saw that was sitting in the middle of the compound waiting to greet all of the visitors to that homestead. It was as if he was not a real human being because he was like a snake, but at the same time it seemed as if he was a man. There were a lot of pythons that were at that shrine. So my boss then told me that he was a money ritualist, and he said to me, you have already eaten the money that belongs to a ritualist. You cannot refuse. I have given you this opportunity so that you can change your life and you can become rich. And he said you need to do your own stuff so that you can be independent. I was then told that I had to sleep with that python. I was so afraid to sleep with a snake, to be intimate with one, because it is something that no one ever thinks of, to sleep with a snake. But what surprised me was that when I was taken to another room, I was then told to undress, and then that python, it then started moving towards the place where I was, and it was developing the breasts of a woman, like a virgin woman. The breast, they looked so nice, and the private part, it seemed as if it now had the private part of a woman. I was shocked to see that I was now attracted to a creature that I considered to be a scary creature. I became intimate with this snake, and it seemed as if I had just made love to a real woman. After that, that was when I was told that I had to return back to Zim, and when I would have returned back to Zim, I was supposed to sleep with only young women, and each and every young woman that I would have slept with will eventually die. And usually they will die after a month when I would have slept with them, when they would have seen that they are pregnant. And every time that a woman would die, then it meant that I would make more money. And I came back to Zim. When I came back to Zim, I started to move from town to town, sleeping with different young girls. And I had been strengthened by that traditional healer in Mozambique so that these young girls, they can fall for me. As you know that young women, they are chasing after money. I did this for nearly 5 years. I was sleeping with different young women, even underaged women, and there were charms that I was using so that these women, they would never refuse to sleep with me. And I was using all the money that I had as well. So I managed to open my business, and I would go shopping in Dubai almost each and every week. So then I slept with my own daughter. I did not even know that I had slept with my daughter. So this daughter of mine, I had no clue that she was my daughter, but that woman that I had been dating when I was still struggling, and when she told me that she was pregnant and then I ran away from her, I did not know that she had given birth to a girl. And then I ended up meeting my own daughter, and I proposed love to him, and I started sleeping with her. I had been given a rule to never sleep with someone whom I share the same blood with. How was I supposed to know that this was my own daughter? And she was all grown up. I never knew that I had a daughter that was around 16 years. So this girl, she started to love me in ways that I could not even understand. I knew that she was way below the age that is permitted, but we were madly in love. So since she told me that her mother was a poor person, she was not going to say anything. She was going to be happy that she had now found a man that had a lot of money. She then said to me, I want us to go and see my mom so that it can be official. If you want to stay with me, we can stay together. No problem. I just want my mother to know that I now have a man that I do have in my life. I then said, okay, it's fine. I also wanted to marry her, not knowing that she was my daughter. When we arrived at the homestead that she said that this is where my mother is staying, when I saw Precious, immediately I recognized her. So I just thought that maybe it was Precious's relative. And then my heart, it started to beat really fast when I saw Precious. So I just stood there and I did not know what else to do. We then sat down. Precious sat down. My girlfriend, she also sat down, and she was looking at me. She was sitting right next to me, and she was holding my hand. She was so excited to introduce me to her mother. I was just sitting there because I did not know what else to say. I had not seen Precious in more than 16 years, ever since I had ran away from her. She was looking at me, and she was acting as if she was trying to see if what she was saying was for real. She thought that maybe she was having a very weird dream, but it was I, the man that had dumped her more than 16 years ago and left her when she was pregnant, and I was back in her life to marry her daughter. And then her daughter was now holding me, and then she asked me and she said, babe, you just mentioned my mother by her name. I never knew that you knew my mother's name. Did I tell you my mother's name by mistake? I just stood there. I did not know what else to do. That was when Precious asked me, and she said, so all these years, where were you hiding? I just remained quiet. Then she started to cry. She cried a lot, and the neighbors, they even came, and she said that she just wanted to have a meeting with me and her daughter. We got inside. That was when she told me that the girl that I wanted to marry, it was the girl that she gave birth to after I had impregnated her. The moment that she told me that I had been sleeping with my daughter, my phone rang instantly, and it was a private number. I answered that private number, and then I heard a voice that said this to me. your time is up. You have left with 1 month. You are going to die. And then the person that had been calling me dropped the call. I then stood up and I told my girlfriend and Precious that I just wanted to have some fresh air and I was going to return back. I got into the vehicle and I fled off. I ran away and I came back to my house. I stayed for a couple of days. Then I started to have pregnancy symptoms. I could not understand how was it even possible that as a man you can have pregnancy symptoms like your cravings. When I wake up in the morning, I vomit. If there is someone that is cooking food like chicken, I can start to vomit because I hate the smell of that chicken. Then I had a dream and I was told that I am pregnant. So the snake that was supposed to come out of my body, I did not know about this, that there is a snake that stays in my body. When I sleep with a woman without using any protection, when I ejaculate, the sperms, they would go and create a snake inside of the womb of that woman. And then she will see that she's pregnant. She can do a pregnancy test and it will come back positive. But inside of her womb, there will be a snake that will be growing. As it grows bigger and bigger, then this snake will start to eat her womb. This is where I am, Brother Nashim. If there is any opportunity for you to come and sit me whilst I am pregnant, this is the opportunity, my brother, before I die. When you come, please find for me a sangoma or a prophet that can assist me. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear brother. Let's speak with him in the comment section. He's saying that he wants someone that can assist him. Let us help him in the comment section. If you are a prophet, if you know that you can assist him, please do not hesitate to come to our inbox.